Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, Absolutely EFL Show. It's time to talk some Championship, some League One. I don't think I'm going to talk League Two. I'm joking. We have to. But you know what? I feel like I'm on a stream tonight with all of my besties here. Like, I'm loving this. This is hashtag squad goals. Hashtag squad goals. But starting with you, Sam, how are you? How's your week been? And are you excited to talk some EFL football?
I'm very excited to talk some EFL football. It's nice. I like to come on and be hosted by yourself on a Thursday, get to talk EFL with my besties as well. It's good fun. I've had a very good week. Almost went off the rails with my meal deal this week, as I think I explained to you earlier. So they didn't have my beefy hula hoops, which can throw the day off. But we did have some ready salted, so we've pulled it round and we're back and we're ready now. So we'll sort it out. Big problems.
All I'm saying, Sam, write a strongly worded email because I'm not happy with that.
That's how the Whisper Gold came back. That email I wrote, you see. So
I've got some in my fridge. Can
you try it with a gold back?
Get my emails on the go. But no, Sean, I'm very excited to be here. I'm looking forward to some EFL chat today.
I love it. And Claire, EFL chat. Are you excited? And also, how are you and how's your week been?
Really good. Week's been great. Still on annual leave. I feel like I've been off forever now and it's the first time in ages. So very much enjoying my annual leave. But, it's just, I'm very excited to chat some rubbish with you three, but can't say I'm dead excited to talk about getting beat.
Don't worry, Claire. It happens. It's just a blip. Blip. That's what I keep telling myself. But somebody who's making his debut on Absolutely EFL, the Grimster. I mean, how are you, first and foremost? How's your week been? And are you excited to talk some EFL football?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Shaw. Yeah, it's been a good week. It's over now because I've got a 4-day bank holiday weekend, so I'm going to enjoy that and have a bit of time off. Probably watched way too much football in the process as well, as I always do every weekend. But yeah, happy to be here. Hoping I don't drop a stinker of a debut like Russell Martin at Leicester. And yeah, let's see how we do.
I love it. And of course, here to talk Rotherham. I'm joking. Top Rotherham fan.
Big Rotherham fan.
Big Rotherham fan. But we do have to start somewhere. And we are going to start in the Championship. And I'm going to start with you, Grimmy. I'm going to put you on the spot now. I mean, It was a very shock to me, this result. But West Ham won, Charlton Athletic 2. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the result, I think, to everybody, was a bit of a surprise. I don't think many people had Charlton getting something away from home here, much less getting the win. I think the game overall, the result was pretty fair, to be honest. I think the way Charlton started, they were pretty good, in all honesty. They kind of kept West Ham pretty quiet after the sort of first couple of goals they had, and then obviously West Ham decided to actually wake up after that point and have a go. But Jones had a lovely overhead kick finish, which I thought was tremendous. Just chested it up and just put it away as a central defender. You don't see that very often. And then Campbell's finish was pretty nice as well. But yeah, I think for Charlton, it's obviously a fantastic start for them for the season. And, I think people coming into the season probably had them in the mid-table sort of surviving again. But after this positive start, maybe they can wish for a little bit more if they're going away to a place like West Ham and putting on performances like they're doing. I think it's obviously a great start to the season for them. And yeah, but on the other side of it, West Ham, you have to obviously be concerned with the start that they've had because, yeah, it's been less than stellar, shall we say. Obviously, the performance against Burnley, drawing against them, and then coming into this one, first home game of the season, expectation was there to maybe kickstart the season from here, and it's just not happened for whatever reason. And I think if there was ever a summary of how their season started, it was that late penalty miss hitting the post, I think kind of summarised it really. But yeah, not a great start for West Ham, but a lot of positives for Charlton to take, and obviously I think they've got Preston next as well, so this run could continue on for a little bit longer, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Just on West Ham as well, Grimmy, what's your thoughts on them? Because a lot of people actually had them, and I know there's still time yet. They had them to obviously win the league before, obviously, they had a really strong squad, managed to keep Jarrod Bowen too. Do you think it's obviously hard on them at the moment and they need that little bit of time to adjust to a new league, or do you think there's something missing for West Ham at the moment?
I think it's probably more adjusting to the league, because I think they've kept a good amount of that spine of that team from last season, and I think they've got quality players throughout that team. I think it's just maybe a little bit of adjusting to the league. I mean, we've seen teams go down before and have a bit of a slow start, and then once they kick into gear, they kind of run away with it. I have a feeling this is probably what's going to happen with West Ham. They've brought in Joel Pirro as well from Leeds. I think he'll do quite well in the Championship this year. Obviously, he's got a goal in this game as well. So, they've got a good goal scorer there. So yeah, I think it's probably just taking a bit of time for them to get going. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But obviously, they need to start picking up results sooner rather than later, because they don't want to leave the gap too big. Obviously, they've got a bit more of an opportunity to get up through the playoffs now, because it's the top 8, I think, that are in the playoffs. So, even if they don't manage to get automatic, I would still favour them through the playoffs to get through one way or another.
Definitely. And I'm just going to quickly come to you, Sam, because obviously Nathan Jones from the Southampton days. Not personally, I don't think.
I don't think so.
That's a spoiler alert. But obviously, he's one of them managers, isn't he? He's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. There's a lot of people going on about Charlton this season, a little bit worried, thinking maybe they could drop down to League One. Some are saying they'll just survive. But they've had a really good start, haven't they, to the Championship? And do you think someone like Nathan Jones is obviously the man to keep them up and keep them safe?
Yeah, they've been really dogged and really determined, and I think that kind of epitomises what Nathan Jones kind of is, isn't he, as a manager? And I think you do need someone that's going to be in that fight with you. And as you said, he's not someone that really, I think, pays too much attention to what anybody outside of the club is kind of thinking. And as you said, that a lot of people don't, but that probably suits him and suits in terms of what Charlton are supposed to do. And say to have 3 points like they've had here, 100% record after kind of 2 games, exactly what you want when you've been written off before the start of the season, and opening people's eyes to what they're capable of. But I think it's a pair that works well together, Charlton and Nathan Jones. I think, like you can see, and the fans have got the trust in him. They've built in the club. And do you think when he went in there, and the noises that were around him after the sort of Southampton run that he'd kind of had, and he's really rebuilt to a certain extent that kind of belief in him as a manager with what he did with Charlton last season, and say he carries on the start of this season. Early days, 2 wins, but we see it can sort of turn quite quickly. But they want to get points on the board, and that's the only way that's going to sort of ease any pressure that they've got on there. And 2 wins out of 2, he can't do any more at the minute. So fantastic start.
Exactly. And it's shown, like we were saying, it's shown mentality as well, because I think that's one thing a lot of people were quite, I don't want to say scared of, but they thought last season, maybe at times, they lacked that little bit, Charlton. And I know Graham at times was saying about it. And I feel like they're not playing the prettiest kind of football, but they're really going for it and they're grinding out the results, aren't they? Which is a massive step. And it's one of them where they've not been easy games too for Charlton, but hopefully they will carry it on. I feel really bad that we started with this game and Graham's not in.
Graham's not in. We're just we're giving them Charlton as love as well.
We're glowing them up
later.
Yeah.
Exactly. He'll be real happy to rewatch this.
Oh, definitely. But we do have some people in the chat as well. So we have the Chickens podcast, Up the Chickens. I know who this guy support. Bradford. I love it. Thank you for joining us as well. No, Sean, we are saving League Two till last, so we don't have to talk about it so soon. Sorry, but you're going to have to wait. And he's also put Chelsea 1, Luton 0, and it was Danny Welbeck. Danny
What a boy.
Welbeck, I know. Does it hurt, Grimmy? Does it hurt, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it.
He'll score against us. I know he will.
I'm going to move on now to, in my opinion, one of the most convincing championship performances of the whole weekend. So, Sam, talk to us. Millwall 3, Norwich 0.
Yeah, a stunning performance really from Millwall. So, going back into, you think last season they had that really kind of great run at the back end and were fighting at one point for possibly the automatic promotions. They'd have been disappointed how the playoffs turned out because, they didn't really show anywhere near the best of themselves and couldn't score against a Hull side that they went in probably as favourites too. So, but over the summer, they've obviously made some good signings and they've really sort of focused and nailed down well because it's a really strong start to the season. So, they followed up on that opening win at Bristol City with a 3-0 dominating performance against Norwich. As you said, Shah, just absolutely blew Norwich away. I mean, they looked really sharp early on. Josh Coburn hit the post pretty early on. He scored 2 on the opening day as well. So Fulham brimming of confidence. And then, there was a really quality chance. It wasn't the greatest in terms of keeper save. It's quite a comfortable one. But I saw Camille Negley try the old Paolo Di Canio. The old sort of scissor.
Yeah. I know which one you're on about. Yeah.
You don't see that enough. I love that, which I appreciated, but it didn't trouble the keeper, sadly. But it was 18 minutes in. They scored the first goal. Millwall committing a lot of players forward, and Coburn saw his efforts saved, and it went to debutant at home, Tariq Conte, who went in. So, or Tarrant Arconte, I think, actually, sorry, his name is, to introduce himself to the home fans. But I will have a bit more on him shortly because he's one of the new boys for Millwall. And Norwich were just miles off it, I think, from them. Really, they didn't really show a lot. I mean, you saw glimpses of the attacking prowess because they were quite good in the first game, to be fair, although they lost. Yeah. They looked really exciting. And they've got some exciting attacking players. And, there was a kind of a brief moment for Andre Brooks where maybe if they'd have scored when he smashed one wide, it would have brought them back in the game. But the second for Millwall was the goal of the game for me. Jake Cooper got above his man at the back post, nodded it down, and it was that boy. Arconte, again, with a really sort of cushioned, nice finish into the corner for a brace in his first home game. So who is Tariq Arconte, I hear you, Shah? So don't worry, I've had a little look. And
do you need the spotlight on him, Sam?
I know, quick in the spotlight. He is a Guadeloupean international, which is just one of the best words to say, Guadeloupean. 7 international caps and 3 goals for them. 22-year-old forward that he signed from French League Two club Rodez in the summer. He scored 14 goals in 32 matches. And talking about him, Steve Gallen, the director of football, said that they're going to need to be patient with him. He's in a new country, a new language, but he's definitely hit the ground running with the home supporters. So keep your eyes out for Arconte. But yeah, basically Norwich's defence just struggled to handle them. Jose Cordoba got sent off as well for dragging Arconte down, so that made things worse. And then a really good ball from Negley late on for Luke Hundle to make it 3. So really strong start for Millwall without Femi Aziz as well, who wasn't playing. So Millwall have started this season really strong and definitely ones to watch, where Norwich, there's so much more in that team, but that wasn't the game for them at all. So Philippe Clement's going to want to turn that round because that's obviously 2 losses on the bounce for them.
Definitely. I just wanted to ask you as well, Sam, because when a lot of people, and even last season, when a lot of people are talking about the Championship and the sides that they think possibly could get promoted or do well this season, a lot of people overlook Millwall. But you personally, I know it's only the second game in, but because they were so close last season and missed out, this season, do you think they could go one step further?
They've got the possibility to. They do. They kind of get overlooked, I think, because maybe sort of the other names are a little bit more kind of, I think, attractive maybe to the neutral, but you've got to give Millwall a lot of respect for what they've done, how they've built themselves in the Championship. They've been a solid kind of playoff sort of fighting team. As I said last season, very much on the cusp of automatic promotion. So maybe, if they can provide some consistency, because we've already seen from, the promoted sides, the relegated sides in particular, that they've not, these early games are still struggling to find their feet. They still need to put the squad together. It could be a consistent side that comes through the pack. And Millwall got some good players. I think they need to keep Femi Aziz to really sort of be pushing at that top end, because I think he's a superb player. And I know there's some rumours, and we've still got a few days of the transfer window to go. But they'll fancy that they can. I mean, next week they've got Southampton away. That's a real, if they go to Southampton and put a performance in, that's a real statement early doors, and people will certainly be taking note. But so far, brilliant, been brilliant.
I completely agree. But we're going up north now, Claire. We're going up north.
Up north.
Preston up north. Preston North End 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers 3.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Well, let's just hope there's no little two-legged distractions coming my way this time. I think obviously there's an important discussion in relation to expectations and like Wolves' ability to maybe like crack on from an absolutely what was embarrassing season last season. So I think obviously the signs are good at the moment. A couple of really good results early on. So I think Phil Lopez put Wolves in front in the 8th minute. Adam Armstrong added enough in the 71st. Phil Lopez got his second in the 82nd, and then there was a consolation goal, cracking goal by the way, by Jordan Thompson in the 91st minute. But credit to Wolves because it's a great away win. Obviously, adapting to life back in the Championship after a bit of time away, new manager, solid defending on the whole. First goal was an absolutely fantastic individual goal. Phil Lopez got the ball around the halfway line and broke all the way forward. Basically, the defence were waiting for him to pass it to someone else by the looks of it, and he just managed to pretty much just slot the ball home without much challenge. Just weren't closed down at all. The defence then kind of got a bit shaky. And Raul Jimenez could have scored with a really clever back heel just before.
Say that name again, Claire.
Another crush of yours, is it, girl?
Another one.
I think once he settles back into Wolves, I think his talent is going to be frightening in that division, quite frankly. Anyway, some really good saves from Preston's keeper. Second goal, really well worked. Don't know if you've seen it, but they absolutely tore the defence apart. And it was a bit sort of like training ground, like kind of worrying for Preston, if I'm being honest, that they're being cut open like that. But then again, same defence all over the place for the third goal. I just think there needs to be a few questions, obviously. Maybe start with the positives on Wolves, because they had a fantastic chance just over the bar, and again had cut open the defence even after Jordan Thompson's consolation goal. Preston should be concerned. I think they're not being unlucky; they're being outplayed, and obviously a big difference between the two.
My itch.
Yeah.
That guy.
Obviously, Adi's move to Genoa confirmed, and I think despite him being disciplinary, for God's sake, despite his disciplinary record being absolutely shocking, he's actually a really vital player for them, and they look better with him in the team. So I think obviously they're struggling, and now they've lost him. Yeah, they don't have to deal with the disciplinary stuff that comes around so often, but I think they could miss him if they don't replace him, and time's running out for that now, isn't it? Have they got the depth in the squad? I think they struggle, to be honest. Like I said about Wolves, though, I think they clearly had an embarrassing season last season, and to start so solidly, I think that it shows that they mean business coming into this season. Phil Lopez, 3 goals in 4 games, so he is obviously showing some signs that he is going to be a really vital player for them as well. I can't say the Wolves manager's name either. Anyway, Caesar looks to have brought some really good energy.
RCs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it can be really, really difficult to come into any team that's gone through that sort of season to sort of, I don't know, sort of obviously stop the rot kind of thing, but to turn it around so quickly for them to start the season so well, I think it's just showing that they're really, really going to be hard to deal with this season. No, obviously, last league game was a draw, but I won't be too worried about that either. I think the support for them is going to be really vital this season, and they were backed by 5,600 Wolves fans at Preston. And in a lot of ways, when you're doing well, that noise can sometimes make it feel more like a home atmosphere. So, yeah, I just think they've had a really good reset in the summer, and it'd be really interesting to see how they get on, won't it?
I just want to quickly ask you, Claire, because I know you said about Preston, and in your opinion, you think they're going to struggle. And I feel like we have this conversation, don't we, season upon season, where we think they're going to struggle, but they get out of it, or they manage to grind out results and they're just safe. But do you think, looking at the quality in the Championship right now, and obviously the quality that has come down from the Premier League, and even some of the teams that have gone up from like your Bolton Wanderers, I know Lincoln, we were unsure, but we said they actually played well the other day. You've obviously got Cardiff as well. Do you think it could possibly be Preston's time this time for relegation?
Yeah, I think it might be, to be honest, and I think there's different elements to it as well. I think they've not really had that like wow signing, have they? They've not had that backing sort of with the big names or the big players. So you kind of think maybe the squad depth hasn't sort of progressed with the quality of the Championship, which is getting better every single season. So they struggled a bit last season, didn't they, and just dragged themselves away. I don't know, like, obviously it's really early days, so it's just worrying concerns at the moment where they do have time to turn it around, and clearly it's far too soon to sort of talk about relegation, but I do think that they'll be down there this season, if I'm being honest. What do you think?
No, I'm the same. I know it's only coming into, obviously, it's been game week 2 coming into game week 3 now, but I thought even last season, after a while, they just seemed to struggle, didn't they, in the Championship? And sometimes, and I feel like it was similar to what we were saying about Peterborough last season, where it can just go quite stale, can't it, after a bit? And obviously, a team like Preston, and I really rate Preston for being in the Championship for as long as they have been. I think it's such a massive achievement. And season after season after season, I feel like they are overachieving, Preston. And I honestly, like, hats off to them and what they've achieved so far. I just feel like the quality involved in the Championship right now, and even the likes of, you've even got Blackburn, who are picking up results. You've got all these other teams who people potentially thought would struggle this season. There's still a hell of a lot of time, and we've still got a week left till deadline. Well, not even a week, really. Deadline day. We've got a few days left till deadline day. And I think this is where it could all change for them. Obviously, they need people coming in, whether, like you were mentioning about people, whether there's outgoings as well. I think this is the time. And even for a lot of clubs now, like, we're sitting here saying about how well people are doing and things like that, but we've still got them few days left to see what happens, isn't there? But yeah, I think at this moment in time, and the predictions that I did have them down to struggle, Preston. But we'll see, won't we? It's a long goal season. Anything could happen.
They're quite short, aren't they, squad-wise? And I was just reading here, Heckingbottom's on about making 5 new signings before the transfer window closes.
There's actually really strong rumours that have surfaced, and kind of like, do you know the rumours that like come and go and come and go? But apparently they want to take Adama Sidibe off us, who only joined us in January. But apparently he's moving on this transfer window and interested in Scotland and stuff. But it'd be really interesting to see if they do go for someone like that, because he's never, like, don't get me wrong, he's played in the Scottish Prem, but I feel like for a lot of teams, that's maybe like League One, League Two level. So it'd be interesting to see if they do go for him. He looks like our strongest player towards the back end of the season. So I think someone like that potentially could make a big difference to him. But do they need someone with that experience, do you think, at this point?
I think they need it because they've lost. Was it Whiteman, the captain, went to Wrexham, didn't he? And they've lost a number of other experienced players. I think they do. The fact that he's talking about bringing 5 in this late in the kind of window, that tells you he's not happy with what he's got. He knows that they're short, but trying to fight. I mean, you might have 1 or 2 experienced heads that haven't got a club or, maybe out of contract that you might kind of pull in. But I think it'll be really interesting who those names are going to be. As you said, I think they need some experience and some know-how.
Yeah.
Just before we move on as well, Sleeping Beauty's here.
He's here.
I'm outing you, Graham. I'm outing you.
This is the biggest win of the season. Unbelievable.
I know. You'll have to go back, Graham. We spoke about West Ham Charlton, the first game.
Snoodley's princess.
I know. We're so glad you're here, Val. So glad you're here. And Grimmy, before I come to you, first on the Blackburn Rovers 2, Middlesbrough 1 game, I've got a match report from Dan who just put Rovers are massive. But moving on.
Right. Sounds about right from Dan, to be fair.
But yes, Grimmy, take it away.
Yeah, so much to Dan's enjoyment, Blackburn got another few points in the bag at the weekend against Middlesbrough. Again, great result for Blackburn. Much like the Charlton result, kind of unexpected for me against a team that's kind of everyone's kind of thinking is going to be fighting for promotions in Middlesbrough. But yeah, I mean, Middlesbrough got an early goal through Sarmiento. I hope I've got that pronunciation right. And looked like they had control of the game. Blackburn had a few chances going into sort of the latter part of the first half, but didn't break their sort of way through. But then the second half started, and obviously a bit of a remotivation from Mowbray at half time, and Blackburn came out all guns blazing, really. Good Johnson with a header early doors. And then shortly after that, Cantwell putting them 2-1 up. And yeah, after that, kind of Middlesbrough had a few chances, but Blackburn managed to see it out. It wasn't the most thrilling of games to watch, but it was a great result for Blackburn. And I think going into the season, I know myself and Dan, when we talked about some of the championship predictions amongst ourselves, I know Dan probably had Blackburn bottom of the table, knowing him, but I had them down there struggling because of what's happened in the off season with not really much coming in, and but I also thought they would be relatively okay because they had Mowbray. I thought Mowbray would be what kept them safe because of his experience, and obviously he's a great manager at this level and what he's done. But you have to say the first 2 performances they've put in, obviously we did the watch along for the Wolves game. They were brilliant in that game and fully deserved, obviously, the points they got there. And then obviously they've played 2 promotion contenders and got 4 points. I think if you offered that to any Blackburn fans at the start of the season, they'd have ripped your arm off probably. But yeah, it's encouraging early signs for Blackburn, and the future fixtures as well look pretty good for them as well. So I don't think the run's necessarily I don't think they're going to hit a brick wall, which probably is a kiss of death from me, and they probably will hit a brick wall now, not winning like 5 or 6. But it looks encouraging for them, and you have to say Mowbray knows what he's doing, and maybe it can be a bit more of a positive season for Blackburn. Looking at the Middlesbrough side of the equation, kind of a frustrating one, I imagine, for them, because obviously they kind of just got themselves over the line in the end against Lincoln last weekend, but they got over the line, so they got the 3 points on the board early. So early doors in the season, it's not really about performances, it's about getting the results on the board. And I think they probably came into this one thinking we need to try and get 3 points really to get a good head start. Because again, last season they had a fantastic start, and then it kind of just trickled away by the end of the season, really. So I think it's one of those things for Borough that I think we'll know how their season's going to go in the next few fixtures, because they've got some tough fixtures coming up. They've got West Brom at home, Burnley. Well, I say tough fixtures. They've got Burnley second game in this run. I take that back. They've got Burnley away, and then they've got QPR away. So I think once we get in past those few, I think we'll know what Middlesbrough we're looking at come sort of going into sort of the main running of the season, really. But yeah, it just goes to show as well. I think with these results that we're seeing, like the one I've covered with Charlton, with Blackburn, the Championship itself is obviously one of the most competitive leagues that there is, if not the most competitive league there is. And anyone's going to get points off anybody at any given point. I don't think anyone at the top of the table or bottom table can necessarily write themselves out, unless you press the North End, who are pretty poor at the minute. But that's about it, really.
No, I completely agree with that. I really completely agree. I'm just warning you all as well. I do apologise if my internet lags at any point. It's thunder and lightning where I am.
Imagine it.
Yes. So I do apologise now. But I am going to move on while I can. And Southampton 3, Stoke City 1. And to be fair, I feel like this one was a really interesting one because I don't necessarily think 3-1 tells the whole story of the game. Southampton made the perfect start, and it was your man who scored, Sam. Not Cyril. Larry.
My mate Cyril.
Your mate Cyril, who's not called Cyril. But yes, it was Larry, and he did score after 8 minutes. And the excellent start he's had as well so far, his third goals in 3 games. And it's somebody we spoke a lot about last season, wasn't he? Larry, and just doing it again for them. So yeah, he took the lead, 1-0 it was, but Stoke responded really, really well. With an equaliser after 26 minutes. And from that point, it was a really competitive game. It remained 1-1 as well for a really, really long time. And it did look as though Stoke were leaving St Mary's with a point. But then the Southampton substitutes, they really did make the difference. It was, is it Mubama? He came off the bench and scored, in the 89th minute on his home debut, which is obviously the perfect debut for any player, which obviously was a massive moment in the game. So they were leading 2-1. And then right at the end, Stokes Ingleson was sent off for bringing down a man. And then they did get a penalty, Southampton, and it was Ryan Manning that did convert the penalty in stoppage time to make it 3-1. And as I said, it was 3-1 to Southampton, but for a very, very long time, Stoke did hold on. But I feel like it's a typical Stoke City thing to do. Like, get a man sent off and be just completely self-destructed. And I think that's one thing. Even last season with Stoke City, they just couldn't grind out games, and they just lacked that in-game management, which is quite shocking for me because Mark Robbins is a manager that we know is very experienced, and we know he's done extremely well in the past with Coventry. But at the moment, it just something with Stoke, they just don't really seem, and I know it's the start of the season, but even from last season, something just seems a little bit off with them. And I don't really know how to take Stoke City at the moment because we all remember Stoke City being obviously top Championship or obviously Premier League under the Tony Pulis days. But I feel like these days and in the modern day of football, they're more of a bottom half of the table team, aren't they, in the Championship now? And I don't really know from a Stoke City point of view, and I don't know if anybody wants to elaborate on it, but where I necessarily put them in the bracket now of the Championship, because they just seem to be lacking a lot and they're quite disappointing for me at the moment.
They're not really going anywhere, are they?
No.
And I haven't been for. I don't to say it because I know a lot of people like Mark Robbins, and he's been a fan and done some. He's been there a while now. Nothing's really they're not really kind of going anywhere. And as you said, Charlotte, that's kind of where they are at in the Championship. And I think part of the problem is obviously their fans are expecting more and will want more. But yeah, it's worrying when you see capitulation of a game sort of like that. I mean, okay, away at Southampton on paper, you could understand it, but the kind of way that it happened, not kind of great. I mean, so losing to Swansea as well on the sort of opening day. I don't know. Again, they're another one. Maybe they do something late in the window and they start to get together, but I just don't really feel they're going anywhere. Wow, do you know what I mean? As you say, it's early and stuff can change, but there's some very good teams in the Championship. It's a very competitive league. And if you're slightly not at it, then I don't know. I personally wouldn't be surprised if this is the beginning of the end, maybe for Robins, if this carries on too much. And because Stoke don't usually muck around and try and do something new, and maybe but they've tried this a number of times. They've had a number of managers as well, and it's this kind of cycle again, isn't it, for them? I just don't really feel that they're going anywhere. It's a big week again, I think, for them as well. Always for teams that lose their first couple of games, this is a real massive week in terms of the end of the transfer window, because fans are already on that kind of, we need to do something because this is, our season's going to be over, and they get really so I think that's going to add to the pressure.
Definitely. And I'm just really quickly going to come to you again, Sam, because obviously you know a lot about Southampton. I know a lot of your friends are Southampton fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only early days, but what is it like in that camp at the moment? Because obviously the disappointment from the end of last season, we're not going to talk about it again, but it wasn't great for Southampton fans, was it, finding out that whole situation? But how are your friends and any Southampton fans, looking into this season? Is it more encouraging now? Do they want to carry on from where they left off last season, or do they still have those doubts considering everything that did happen?
I think they're hopeful. I mean, I think with all the stuff that kind of happened, the one thing that they have kind of done is I think they're buying into almost the siege mentality with sort of, with the fact the club stayed with Tom de Rijkaard. They're backing him and in terms of what it is that, they feel he's a good manager, and they get that every away game, everybody's on them. Everybody's still talking about all the stuff happened last season. But in terms of the performances, I mean, so that was an important win at the weekend. They were awful by all accounts in midweek in the Cup, and they played quite a strong team against the West Ham team that was quite changed. So they'd have been a bit worried there, but they're doing some stuff still in the window. See, they brought in Schlotterbeck today in their defence, and James Ward-Prowse is very heavily linked to return. Who's obviously a legend, kind of, in that legendary 400 plus appearance status. That might be something as well that kind of galvanises up. And to be honest, if Cyril can get his head on a couple of JWP set pieces, and that will get him a number of goals this season. So I think they're sort of quietly, okay, early days, no panic. That was their first home game. They didn't play that well in the first game. But they're optimistic. They feel they've got a good team. I think they have got a good team. They've managed to keep hold of Leo Cienza as well. I think he's one of the best players in the Championship last season. He was absolutely superb. At the minute, like Harwood Bellis and people like that are still there. So there's quality. There's quality in that squad, and they're all kind of galvanising behind it. And I think last season the fans were kind of outraged and all the stuff that happened with the playoff. And now it's a bit like, okay, we'll sod what everybody else thinks. We're going to go and do what we're going to do. And we're going to have to take it on the chin, but we're all together about it. So, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how it pans out. But I don't think they're done in the window either. There's a couple more I think they'll make.
We shall see what happens. The last game we are going to cover, though, in the Championship, it's a draw. We've got to do a draw. I mean, we spoke about losses, we spoke about wins. So I am going to talk about Birmingham 2, Bristol City 2. And I feel like even though it was a draw, and we love a Desi anyway, I thought because Sam and Grimmy are on, we've got to talk about a Desi. So, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining Championship games of the weekend. And somebody who I really like in the Championship, I think he's a very good player. It was Scott Twine. Scott Twine did put Bristol City ahead after 33 minutes before Birmingham managed to get themselves level shortly before halftime. And then came probably one of the goals of the EFL weekend. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but with around 5 minutes remaining, Don Ballard produced an unbelievable back heel. Did any of you see it finish?
Insane.
Unbelievable.
It was an absolute peach of a goal. And my God, I look at it and I've watched it time and time again. And the more I watch it, the better it gets, in my opinion. It was just absolute quality, that back heel finish. And he's got his back to goal as well and somehow manages to flip it into that top corner. And I'm just smiling and just mesmerised by it, just talking about it, because it was absolutely insane. And obviously, you think at that stage, you're going to win. You're going to get the 3 points. But no, to be fair to Birmingham, they did keep going. And deep into stoppage time, they were awarded a penalty for a handball. And Damani Gray actually was. He converted in the 95th minute and did rescue a 2-2 draw. So both teams obviously did get the point. Obviously disappointing for Bristol City fans because you go there with 5 minutes of normal time to go and you think, oh, nice one, get the winner. I bet there was absolute limbs at that point thinking you got the win, and for a quality goal like that. But then to end up giving away a penalty and it becoming a draw, it must be so disappointing, mustn't it? Especially for Ballard, like such a quality goal. And you think, mate, I've just got the winner now. Like proper lapping it up, and then for that to happen, it just must be so, so frustrating. But Claire, I just wanted to talk to you, like, from a Bristol City point of view, if you're a Bristol City fan, how would you feel about that? Like, not only have you just seen an absolute quality goal, you think you've got them 3 points, but then obviously to give away that penalty must be so frustrating.
So frustrating. I think, obviously, like, you probably sit back and look at it that Birmingham are going to probably be up there towards the end of the season. And when you look at it on the balance of the season, might be like, oh, yeah, well, it was a good point. But to give a penalty away, 95th minute penalty, anyone's going to be absolutely devastated. But I think they've shown a lot of signs already. I think they've got some shrewd signings, Bristol City. Yeah. And it's really good to see Don Ballard just kind of like looking like he's been in the Championship forever. Just, you know, cracking on from last season where he was absolutely phenomenal. Like it's a seamless little step up. I think Bristol City will be good this season. Don't think they'll have any struggle really, but yeah, it's always going to be disappointing that, innit?
Definitely. I just wanted to quickly come to you as well, Grimmy, because the Birmingham point of view, like there's so much expectation on them this season, similar to like your Wrexham stories and stuff, because there's so many eyes on them, there's so much money involved. Like from a Birmingham perspective, what's your opinion on it? Because you're going in there, you're 2-1 down. Obviously, fans and stuff must be absolutely buzzing that they've managed to get the point late on. But there must be some essence, like from obviously management, the players, and obviously the hierarchy, who's like, phew, we've managed to like get the draw now because there's so many expectations on them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, when you're 2-1 down going into the 95th minute, if you can pull a point out of the fire, then you're definitely feeling, it probably feels closer to a win for them, really, more than anything else. But yeah, for Birmingham, I don't think they're in an easy situation, really, because I think with the takeover and obviously people like Tom Brady getting involved and obviously the consortium, I think it's a bit of a nightmare, really, for those players, because they're getting scrutinized probably to the same extent as the likes of Wrexham are, with all the investment and all the changes that they made. And, you know, I think the result in itself is a good result, but I think overall, I don't know. There's just something about Birmingham that isn't clicking with me yet. I don't know if I just haven't seen them enough to know enough about them. But I think that I kind of expect them to be maybe on the outskirts of the playoffs this season rather than being involved. Obviously, like I mentioned before, with the expansion of the playoffs, there's always a chance that someone could sneak in right at the end. But with Birmingham, obviously they've got good players. It's just whether or not they can put it all together to put a good season together to get in there. And, you know, first couple of results aren't bad. Obviously drawing away to Sheffield United and then drawing at home to Bristol City, who obviously we know aren't any slouches in the Championship. But, you know, they're gonna have to pick up results consistently and well enough if they are going to make a push for those playoff places, because there's so much quality in the Championship. It's not going to be easy to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sam, am I all right just letting you read out Graham's report for 2 seconds while I go and shut? I didn't realise one of the windows open and Oliver's just came in crying because it's thundering. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Bless him.
Let me see if I can find it. Where is Graham's report? That's going to be the first thing. Otherwise, I'll just make it up for you, Graham. Because Graham says, all I've got from Graham is we need a defender or two. We lost 3 defenders this week to injury, 1 on Monday and 2 within the first 20 minutes last night. That's not good, is it, Graham? Let me know if there is. I can't find your match report in a minute, Graham. So apologies if I've missed it. But on Birmingham as well, obviously we're not talking EFL Cup. That was a bit of a slap in yesterday as well, wasn't it? Because they got stung by the bees. Brentford put 6 past them as well. So I think Gustavus had to apologise. If you've got to apologise to your fans, it's never too handy at this point of the season either, is it? It's not a great one. But Brentford are a good side, Grimmy. We know this.
Yeah, we know this. Yeah, they're a pretty good side. We'll not mention the Charlton result last night either. So I don't think that was too good viewing for Graham and co. But yeah, Brentford, obviously, fantastic team. And I don't think, as bad as it was, obviously, the result, I don't think you can really take too much of that because, again, when the Premier League team comes to town and as good as Brentford are, who are obviously going to prioritise something like the League Cup to give them extra games through the season and maybe something they might be able to sneak into the latter stages of, then, I think Birmingham can't really take too much from that in terms of the result, but hopefully it doesn't affect them too much going forward.
Sorry about that. Honestly, the dramas, eh? The dramas. But we will move now to the table. What we do, though, we have a rule on our non-league podcast where we're going to leave it up for a few minutes because we feel like it's too soon at the moment to judge anything, to read out tables. So we're going to leave it up for a few minutes. Well, not minutes, a few seconds, just to kind of have a look, because I actually asked the question and I don't know if any of you agree, but I said to the team on a non-league podcast on Monday, I was like, what is the perfect time to start reading the table? And Rob said game week 10 to start reading it.
I think in terms of like talking about where stuff is, then I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think almost like match day 5, it becomes a little bit more interesting, like at least to mention it. But I think, taking any kind of real credence into it, probably about 10 and beyond. Depends where your team is, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm not reading it. I know you're very strong on it, Claire, aren't you? Where you're like, yeah, we'll look at the table and stuff, but there's no point taking any notice really until like Christmas, January time.
Yeah, January, February for me.
Yeah.
Like, other than if County are top, and then I'll just like joke and drop the count. Like,
joke. Yeah.
That's about it. I don't obviously take any interest in it then either because it's going to change. But yeah, I just think it's as, it's as useful as, like, I don't know. I can't think of it.
What about you, Grimmy? What's the perfect time you start taking into account like everything going on in the tables?
I usually say around game 5 or game 6 because I think you've probably played a good mix of contenders and then sort of your mid-table, lower table, really, unless you've had like an absolute stinker of first 6 fixtures and you've played like all top 6 from the previous season or something. Like, yeah, I feel like that's probably the right amount, especially for like the Championship, because we've seen obviously contenders play against each other so far, and there's some big games coming up. So I think that'll probably be a better time to judge it. Although I'm pretty sure if you're Graham after this weekend, if they beat Preston North End, you'll be saying stop the count. So yeah.
I love it. Right. We are going into League One now, if my button works. It's working. So I'm going to start. So Leicester 1, Burton 2. I mean, it's not the best start for Russell Martin, but did any of us think any different, to be fair? Like, I don't want to sound harsh or anything, but going into it and that appointment, I think we all kind of had the same outcome, didn't we? Where we weren't really, like, it didn't really excite us, did it, going into it? And me personally, I thought Leicester needs some stability, and I don't think Russell Martin is the right man to kind of give them that. It might change because it is game week 2, but it's not looking very, very good. And Burton, obviously, they did go to the King Power and absolutely refused to be intimidated by Leicester. And just to say itself, to be fair, because going into it, you've got someone like Burton, and this is no disrespect to them whatsoever, but you look at someone like them and you go into Leicester, who have recently been in the Premier League, haven't they, not that long ago, and they weren't intimidated whatsoever. And it was someone I'm very familiar with, ex-Rochdale. It was Matthew Dennis. He put Burton ahead after only 5 minutes as well. So that's obviously really, really fantastic for Burton, not just to go there, but so early on, go 1-0 up. And then after 25 minutes, Burton did actually make it 2-0. So they went there, they played the football, and they were 2-0 up. And yeah, it just went from bad to worse, to be honest, for Leicester. Someone who we're familiar with from, obviously, like I said, the Premier League days, Oliver Skipp. He was sent off after 29 minutes. Bear in mind, it's not even been half an hour yet. We've got 2 goals and a sending off. So yeah, it was one of them for Leicester where I think it just wasn't their day whatsoever. But Wes Burns did pull one back just before half-time, which did try and give Leicester a route back into it. But second half, being game management from Burton, they just looked so comfortable, and Leicester didn't really trouble them. So, yeah, it all happened in the first half. Everything. Absolute crazy game. But, Claire, I wanted to come to you on Leicester. What's your thoughts? Because I know we had a lot to say about them last season, didn't we, when they were in the Championship? Obviously, you sent me that video from them fans who really just wanted to chat with them to see if there's anything they could do from their point of view. And obviously, they just wanted that connection back with the ownership and the fans. And they've gone down again, a relegation again into League One, and it just doesn't seem to, at the moment, be getting any better. I know, obviously, we just spoke about it with West Ham, where they do need to adjust to the different league now. Do you think Leicester will improve, or do you think it's just something to do with the whole of the club at the moment?
Yeah, I think the club's absolutely rotten. And I don't say that lightly, and I'm not saying it as if like it's a slap-handed comment. I think they've got an owner who doesn't necessarily know enough about football or care enough about football, if I'm being honest. Is basically got the club because his dad loved it. Obviously inherited it after his dad was in that horrific accident. And I feel like he's probably felt that he had to continue it to carry on his dad's legacy, which is kind of like a really difficult thing unless you're in that situation, I suppose.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the money. Obviously, they sold the rights to the parachute payment to go up last season. It failed spectacularly. And then this season, they've had to borrow money to look at getting through the season. And I just think they've got a load of arrogant arseholes within the football club who don't care. And I'm talking about the players directly. And you know what? Give a shit. Show the fans that you give a shit. I just think they need to, I don't know, like, I don't actually know how they resolve it at this point because I just think they're so rotten. Like, they're rotten to the core. And I think they'll struggle at the wrong end of the table this season. I don't think they'll go down, but I think they'll be right down there. And there's actually questions I've seen, various things online about whether they'll finish the season. There's so many, rumours about sort of them going bust and all that kind of thing. So they've gone wildly out of their realistic, budget. They've got players on such a massive amount of money. I think the best thing that they probably could have done this window was sell some of those players that are, costing the most. But then again, at the same time, if you're a really good football club, why are you going to spend all that money on these players who are robbing a wage? Like, it's probably a really difficult scenario, but yeah, just think on this match, obviously, fair play to Burton. Obviously, I've spoken about Gary Bowyer loads and loads, and I think just because it's Leicester and they're a massive club, I think you have to not take anything away from Burton when you talk about how rotten Leicester are. Obviously, he'd be off that Corey Adai got man of the match and he did absolutely nothing for us.
Also, I just wanted to ask as well, I'm going to ask you on this one, Grimmy, because obviously being Manchester United fan, and we even saw it as well, like on Saturday, I think a lot of the teams, kind of, especially the smaller ones who get promoted, they think of going to like a top club like Manchester United as like essentially a cup final. Do you think it's similar with Leicester in this league to that aspect where you've got teams in League One now treating it as if like it's one of the biggest games of the season and kind of treating it a little bit like that?
I think so, yeah. I think there's definitely an element of that. I think it's whenever a big team goes down, whether it's Premier League to Championship or Championship to League One or wherever they are, I think there's always that element of when the league they go into, there's almost a target on the back because people have a point to prove against them, and Leicester have kept a good few of the squad that was there last year, so it's not like they're playing players who they've just kind of brought in to fit the squad in this summer. Like, I think there's definitely an element of that. I think you'll see it with Leicester. I think you'll see it with West Ham and Wolves. I think there'll be teams up and down the table that'll be wanting to put in the best performance against them and show them what they're capable of. I mean, we saw it with Notts County last week against Leicester. Like, they were no pushovers whatsoever, and Burton were excellent this weekend as well. So yeah, I definitely think there is an element of that.
And Sam, I've got a question for you as well. Could Leicester's biggest opponent this season actually be the expectation surrounding the club? Because it's one thing I was thinking of, and I agree, like listening to Claire as well and listening to Grimmy then, there's a lot of really big players. Even, like we say, Oliver Skipp, was it Tottenham he was at not that long ago in the Premier League? And you've got these big players now and so many egos. And obviously, you've got the fact they were ex-Premier League not that long ago. Do you think the expectation could be obviously the biggest enemy this season rather than the actual opponents who they're playing every week?
I think so. I think the expectation will be high because, as you said, some of the players that they brought in, you've got like Connor Chaplin's coming in, as you said, Burns is coming. These are players that will come in with the expectations of getting Leicester out of the division. And the fans have had, it was 10 years ago since that incredible season, and so the Champions League off the back of that and the wins, etc. And once you've lived the dream, and then suddenly you're kind of down in the doldrums, it's a lot to contend with, and it's going to be frustrating that they're going to be chucking kind of at those players at the same time. And as you said, like chucking Buster Martin into the mix and a type of football that takes some time to kind of really work together. And whether that work in the division, the jury's definitely going to still be out on that. And as Claire said about like the ownership and so, there's rumours they are trying to sell or whatever. I saw apparently they've produced an 8-page booklet to try and sell the club. So that's something crazy, isn't it? That's they've got a pamphlet. They've got a pamphlet. So don't worry, all will be all right. All will be fine.
That's a bit in that, isn't it?
Oh, it is in today's sort of they've made an 8-page booklet. You're like, okay, great. That's going to get you out of trouble, but just expectation wise, it could do because the pressure's on them all the time, and they're almost like they're the big name in League One. They lose and everyone's on top of them, and they're not going to be able to go about their business unless they're picking points up, and it quietly calms itself down. But while they're having results like this, with no disrespect to Burton Albion, that they're gonna get caned every week, and everyone's gonna be on them. They've got no respite until they start picking points up and it starts calming down.
No, I completely agree, honestly.
You know what? I actually, when you ask Grimmy that question, it is actually something that happens at every single level. Like when we were in Conference North, we noticed it. Teams would be turning up, selfies in front of the Cheadle end and trying to be the pantomime villain, and you probably noticed it to a point at Rochdale as well.
No one thinks we're massive. Thank you, Claire. I do appreciate that. It's a massive compliment, but no one thinks we're massive. Only me. But really quickly as well, I know it is non-league, but Boreham Wood have just took a 2-1 win over Boston. They were 1-0 down, and within 3 minutes of each other, they've scored. And guess who it was who scored? Matt Rush. Who needs Abdul Malik now, eh? Who needs Abdul Malik? Sorry. Not yet. We will talk about that more on Monday. There's a lot to say on that. A lot to say. But I'm now a Boreham Wood fan in non-league.
No.
But the next one, Luton 2, Notts County 2, Grimster. Do you want to talk about it? That's your new name from me, by the way, now.
I hate it. Yeah,
For
sure.
Grimster.
Can do. Yeah, thanks. I really
You're
love
welcome.
it. Yeah, Luton seem to be the entertainers of League One so far in these first couple of games. Obviously, they had the 4-3 the previous week, with that 3-1 being 3-1 down at half time, coming back, and then this time round they came back after being 2-1 down against Notts County. So write Luton off at your peril, I think, so far in this season. But yeah, it was a really, really entertaining game. Luton took the lead with, I think it was Naki Wells' penalty, and then Notts County actually scored before half-time to bring it back, and then nudged themselves ahead with Cooper's effort. And then Marshall got them a goal back late on in the 68th minute, and that was all she wrote in terms of the scorers and the match report. But yeah, I think Luton really, I think the biggest compliment I can pay them is whenever they go forward, they always look like they've got a good chance of scoring. I think they're very well drilled going forward. I think defensively is where I worry about them a little bit, because again, it's 5 goals in 2 games they've conceded, and generally in any league, if that's your ratio, even at the start of the season, it's a bit concerning. So I think that's obviously something they'll need to tighten up, and I'm sure Wilshire and Co will be working that on the training pitch every day to try and get that sorted out. But again, when you can score goals that Luton can score, you're always going to be with a chance of a game. But I think that, I think with what they've got in that squad, I certainly think they'll be contenders for the playoffs. I don't know if I see them being in the top 2 just yet, especially with the defensive concerns, but I could see them being in around the playoffs. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. But Notts County, I've been impressed with as well. Watching the Leicester game as well, and then watching this game against Luton, obviously 2 of probably the bigger names in the league, really, that you wouldn't want to face in your first couple of fixtures being back in the division. But I think Notts County have given themselves a really good account of themselves. I don't think they've done themselves any injustice or anything like that. I think they've got good players in there. I know, obviously, I've seen Callum Roberts play here, there, and everywhere in the leagues. I know Shaw's a big fan. Not quite as big a fan as Raoul, but
no, but he's all right.
He's all right. It's Callum. He's all right. But I think they'll be all right this season, Notts County. I really do. I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to be difficult to beat for any team, really. So I don't really have any concerns for them. I think it's whether they can, get results on a consistent basis, whether or not they'll be able to nudge themselves in sort of that top half playoff region. That'll be the big question for them. But yeah, it was a really entertaining game, and long may those sorts of games continue, because that's what we love about these leagues, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I know me and you were talking about it, weren't we, Claire, Notts County? And we both said with Notts County, we don't really have any fear of them, because the kind of football they already played in League Two is very much suited to League One, where I think League Two is basically do the basics, defend well, get a goal, and you can kind of, what we've seen from Bromley last season and then getting promoted. And then this one is a bit more technical, isn't it? And you can play that kind of pretty football and obviously the possession-based football more in League One, and I feel like it does work. So I completely agree with you, Grimmy, and Callum Roberts, shout out to him. Even though I am gutted because we were linked with him, but if you're going to pick out Notts County and Rochdale, you're going to pick Notts County, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, you're dead right about them. They'll definitely do all right. They play such a League One football style.
Moving on then, Claire. I mean, talk to us.
Here we go.
Stockport County 1. Is it Jim out yet? Stockport County 1, Blackpool 2. I'm joking.
To be fair, I don't really know where to start, but it's just because I'm going to start by saying we played really well.
This is literally, trust me, I know what you're saying because we had it so often.
Yeah, it's a mad one, and it was. I genuinely don't know which bit to start at because there's so many things I want to say about it, both from a kind of like from a non-blue tinted glasses perspective as well as the blue tinted glasses perspective. But if we play like that, then we'll definitely win more than we lose. It was really attractive football, and definitely better seeing in the last. Why is my thing doing that? It's really putting me off. I'm looking at you guys, and the camera's just zooming me in and out.
I'm gonna quickly say, right, Claire, from the Rochdale aspect of it, it's so good when he's playing the attractive football, and I absolutely loved it. But then it's like a patience thing. And a Stockport fan actually messaged me on Twitter the other day, and he said, we're playing such attractive football, but will it get us to score and will we win more games? And I said to him, I was like, you need to be more patient. But the thing is, it starts off with the attractive football, and then it goes to the attractive football, but kind of grinding out wins. And that is what got us promoted. So you're starting on this journey where you need to be patient and stuff, which I know you will anyway. And then when it gets to the point where, because I know Jason Taylor's part of your backroom staff now, I feel like Jason Taylor is the mouth of it, because Jim, and I love Jason Taylor, and I'm not saying he's aggressive in any sort, because he's not, but because Jim McNulty is so placid and so laid back, Jason Taylor's like the mouth. And once they both inherit that side of it, where it's the attractive football, but for grinding out results, that's what got us to obviously where we were last season in the National League. So
but it's
I do get it.
It's a big step up for him, so people need to
100%.
be patient. I think it's a massive change as well when you've got someone who's done the job that Dave Challen has done. It's
100%.
such massive boots to fill as well. So, but yeah, I think we'll win a lot more than we lose if we play that kind of football. Proper smash and grab by Blackpool, and it's, to be fair, impressive. It's what they came to do, and they achieved it. Concerns for me from the game were the way that we conceded. The first goal was a goal kick, believe it or not, from an attack where Owen O'Connell has just lost his man and is basically Peacock Farrell has assisted Boxham is putting 1-0 up, like properly against the run of play. So it's just really, it was really frustrating. And then second goal was goal kick. Ryan Glover's missed his man. Owen O'Connell's been marking no one and not really seeing the danger until too late.
Sorry, you're red.
I know. I can't look at the screen because it's literally putting me off so much. But the keeper has saved it. He's saved it, and then there's just been a tap in because it parried out. Just lucky where it landed, I suppose. Bailey Peacock Farrell was phenomenal for Blackpool. Easily the man of the match, and he was the man of the match. But we were just so wasteful, and that's what frustrated me about it. I'm not worried one bit. I think we'll be all right. As Uncle Nick used to always say to us, there's only one stat that matters. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit of the story that comes with that, like, that's causing me to not worry. Because here are some of the stats from that game. Stockport County, 78% possession, 28 shots against Blackpool's 10, 62 touches in the box against Blackpool's 13. We had 14 corners against and we hit the woodwork twice. Is it doing it again?
Yeah. You said corners. It's corners, and then you like sat down in your corner.
It's really, I don't know why it does it. Why does it do it?
Don't know, but it really made me laugh. It was like a dum 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 14 corners.
So we hit the woodwork twice as well. So it's just one of them days that's just not yours.
What about XG, Claire?
Do you know what? I've actually noted down as much as this is my exact line. As much as XG is a daft bit of nonsense, ours was 3.54. So Owen O'Connell, shaky start for us. Questions about the defence. They'll be fully aware of it though, and I don't, it's very, very early into the season to have any issues with anybody. I have no issues with anyone. I'm sure they're more annoyed about it than we are, so I'm sure they'll work hard to, sort that out. What I will say, and you probably know where I'm coming from in saying it, Shah, is if Plan A fails, revert to Plan A. So it kind of felt like there wasn't really anything, else in the locker at that point. So it'd be interesting to see how they go about that as well. Again, you say patient, so I'll just wait and see.
It's honestly, everything you're saying, it is like deja vu. It is like deja vu, because it's like the Plan A. It was always Plan A for the first 2 seasons. And then once Plan B came into it, that was literally last season for us, that Plan B, where it was just like late goals, late equalisers, which then turned into late winners. And like I said, even Owen O'Connell, I know him well from his Rochdale days as well. And honestly, just stick by him, because once he kind of fits in and once he is comfortable, you've got a good player on your hands.
Yeah. I don't doubt that, and like I say, I'm not bothered at the minute. It might be a shaky start, but it's his second league game, and we've got a bunch of players who know what they're doing. They know why is this? Why is it doing this? I quit. I'm not worried at all. And what sums it up really, Jim McNulty's comments were, we played really well, we were the team worthy of victory. And then Ian Effort, with his honest appraisal, was, we won't face a team that plays better football than them this season, but we've executed our game plan and done exactly what we wanted to do. So you know what, fair play to Blackpool. I think they've had a couple of really disappointing seasons. I think they'll do better this season. I think they'll be challenging for the playoffs. Can't see more than that, but I think they'll be planning to sort of hit the playoffs. I'm not even looking at the screen anymore, by the way. So if I talk to you and I'm looking a different direction, it's not.
The way you said we've had a disappointing few seasons, and your head just went down. It was the
County have definitely had a few positive seasons.
Oh, that made me laugh. But yeah, don't be worried, Claire. Do not be worried at all. Like I say, if any Stockport fans are, just say, patience. Sean told me patience.
Can we talk about our record signing from last season? Malik Mothersill, who has just got on a season-long loan to Wickham because he is the literal shit on my shoe. No, to be fair, like, I feel like he didn't really like set the world alight when he had his chance, and because I think there was so much expectation because it cost us so much money. I just think it kind of never really worked out. So good luck to him. Hopefully we've got a recall clause for when he's inevitably scored 15 goals by Christmas.
You crack me up, yeah. You went from, it was that on your shooter. Yeah, good luck to him.
Do you know, I just think it's typical us. Like, we let players go out on loan and they literally just go and set the world alight.
He could have loaned him to us then, Claire. Go on. But next game, Peterborough 2, Mansfield 1. Sam the EFL man. Do you want to talk to us about Peterborough?
I do indeed. The only home winners. The only home winners in League One this weekend was Peterborough. Yeah, yes. So they beat Mansfield 2-1. Mansfield turned up to this one in their new fancy pink away kit as well. But yeah, wasn't enough. Wasn't enough to stop the posh. Damn. Tried, but the kit wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I think the fans feeling more positive, going into this season than where things ended up last season for them. Although disappointingly, though, still not one player called Peter in their squad, which is disappointing in their Rodwell transfer window. But I have done a bit of research. It's not just them, because I know I always give Peterborough a bad rep for it. But Stevenage haven't got any Steves. And sadly, Dreety, Bradford haven't got any Brads either. So
we've got no Dales either.
Got no Dales. I know these opportunities are being missed. But back to the serious stuff of the game.
Was that not the serious bit?
That was it. That's the report. Yeah, I didn't do anything else. Just stupidity. Mansfield almost had an early lead after 90 seconds. John Russell almost scored. It was cleared off the line, but it was a quiet first half really, and then the second's kind of where it all opened up. It's Rebecca's former favourite, Ben Woods, who opened the scoring on 50 minutes. Deflected cross, found him nicely. He couldn't really miss it, to be honest, and put Peterborough one up. But Mansfield struck back 10 minutes later. They'd had a close offside where they'd had a goal disallowed, but then a defensive mix-up at the back for Peterborough allowed Michael Smith to score. Rhys Oates unselfishly laying the ball across to him. And it went into stoppage time, and Harry Leonard was the hero for the home side. There was a scintillating dribble from, I think, Bolu Shofawoke, I think his name is.
What a name!
Super name. And a super name and a super dribble as well. I saw in all the match where he's called Bolu. I was like, I'm going to have a go at the surname. Why not? Let's go for it. That goal, that dribble deserved it. And it laid it off to Leonard. It got blocked, and then he parried home to, he got the second one to poke home to take all 3 points. But who is Harry Leonard, Shah? I hear you ask. Well,
who is Harry Leonard?
He's Rochdale born and bred, I'll have you know. He is a Rochdale boy. There you go. Highly thought of at Blackburn Rovers, but sadly injuries really kind of hampered him there when he came through all their youth development, and there was some hope I think that he'd break through. But he had a really bad back injury in 2024, and he sort of struggled with sort of bits and pieces ever since. But he had a really good run last season in the end, despite Peter's season, 21 goals in 41 last season. And he started this off really well. It's his first in the league, and he's got 3 in the cup as well, because he scored a couple last night as well for them. So he's one to keep an eye on in terms of their attack. But overall, Mansfield disappointed probably not to go home at a point, but Peterborough pushed into the end. And they made a signing as well, which you'll know from non-league, because Danny Ormerod signed from AFC Fylde.
Such a good player.
Going to shut my curtains, that line.
Are you really? No, I was shocked when they signed him too, Claire. There were so many people after him.
Claire was so shocked by Danny Ormerod signing from Peterborough. Yeah, I mean, he's, as you know, Shah, 32 goals in 46 National League North games, but he'd already scored twice this season already for them in the National League. So interesting to see whether he'll make the step up and another exciting attacking option.
I think he will, though, Sam, because I know the last couple of seasons I've been really passionate with Peterborough, haven't I, on the aspect where I think it's fantastic for getting these gems for non-league, but they kind of put too many eggs in one basket from it. And then obviously the Keane Hayes one didn't work out. I know George Never didn't necessarily work out to an extent. And Con Clark, obviously, that was a massive one as well, where there was high expectations. It didn't work out. But I feel like with someone like Danny Ormerod, I think that is a very clever bit of business, if I'm being quite honest, because watching him, what he's done for Fylde and the amount of goals he scored, but I genuinely think he could do it at a top level as well. And watching him, I think he's got a lot of attributes that could really help him in this kind of level. And he's just a born goal scorer. Like, it's actually crazy watching him and watching some of his goals and stuff, and he's fantastic. And I actually feel like this is one we should do now for In the Spotlight, because I know a lot of people might not be familiar with him. Spoiler alert, everyone. Mm-hmm. But just watch him and everything he does, and I'm hoping he can do well in this league, and I actually think he really will. If I'm being quite honest, I think he's definitely got it in him.
Yeah, he's exciting to watch, and so, you know, well, you've already got someone like Harry Leonard up there as well for them as well. You know, last season was really disappointing. There's no two ways about it. It was there for them, but home winners, the only home winners, so can't be grumbled.
And Mansfield, don't wear your pink kit.
Don't wear pink kit. It didn't bring you luck in that injury time, you see.
No, it must be a pink kit thing, because we wore a pink kit against Newport, and look where that got us. Don't do pink kits, everyone. Don't do pink kits. But I am going to do the next game, and it is Stevenage 1, Oxford United 2. And in my opinion, I think it was a really, really good away victory for Oxford, and also I can't speak, an important early moment, obviously, for Aaron Ramsey, because he is Oxford's manager. And in League One now, you look across them. So we've got Aaron Ramsey, we've obviously got Tom Cleverley, we've got Jack Wilshere as well. So you're looking at these young managers now, up and coming managers. And I just think it's so good and so refreshing to see some of them in this league. And yeah, obviously fantastic getting his win. But yeah, the game, it wasn't the most exciting game, may I add, and it was goalless for 65 minutes before Ramsey and his in-game management, he did decide to make a double substitution, and he introduced Stanley Mills and this name, Gatlin O'Donker. I mean, what a name, Gatlin O'Donker. Just by his name, he is introducing a superstar, and I'm fully here for it. And within 2 minutes of making these substitutions, they really did make the difference. So Mills did provide the delivery, and O'Donker heading Oxford into the lead. So what a guy! Not only has he got a name like that, but he can score an absolute peach of a header. I mean, I love a good header, me. I really do love a good header. But yeah, that's exactly the type of substitution every manager dreams about. But then O'Donker had another major involvement later in the game when he got through and won Oxford a penalty. So this guy's just a star. And it was Cameron Brannigan who converted it into the back of the net in the 87th minute. That did put Oxford 2-0 up. And Stevenage did pull one back through Jordan Roberts. That was deep into stoppage time. But Oxford did manage to hold on. But remember the name, everybody. Gatlin O'Donker.
Donker's the guy. Donker.
Put a donk in it, remember that? Paul will be happy. I know he always said that. But yeah, I think it's a really, really good result, obviously, for Oxford. No, they did get relegated from the Championship last season. First season back into League One. And yeah, really good start for obviously Aaron Ramsey too. And I really do like, and I don't know if you're the same, Claire, but obviously even Jim McNulty and stuff, the fact that young managers are getting the opportunity now to obviously in these lower leagues to kind of introduce themselves. And someone like Aaron Ramsey, who we've obviously seen as a player not that long ago, drop into League One with Oxford. I think it's really, really refreshing to see. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I think it's definitely refreshing. I think obviously it needs to happen as well, because where they're going to get their experience from if you don't give them a chance. And loads of these players have been around the best coaches in the world, so they're going to have learnt a thing or two from them. So I think the dog's also scared of the thunder. I think it's really important to give them the chances. Clearly, it's working as well. I think Stevenage are a really, really tricky team to beat, hard team to break down. They've not had the best start, so he's done a great job getting a result, especially there as well. So they're not often beat at home.
Completely agree with that one. And I just think it's really good rebuilding that confidence after a relegation as well, because it can be really tough, can't it, when you've been relegated and obviously you're still on a downer from that, but the mentality of it as well, and for them to obviously rebuild that and just get straight back into it, I think it's a really good sign, obviously, from Aaron Ramsey's men. And like I said, really looking forward to the new up-and-coming managers that weren't long ago players. It's really nice to see.
They've done really well as well, haven't they?
Because
they've had they've got a transfer embargo as well, haven't they? And they've kept a lot of that squad together, which has been really important. Apparently in place till January, I think. So, but they've not. I don't think they've had a lot go. So that's been important because they did have a good end to last season, and I think they were feeling quite one of these sides that going down felt quite positive. So I think that's been really important for that start and to give Ramsey a chance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Grimmy's putting me off. Grimmy keeps laughing.
Because the dog keeps going like this and you keep going popping up behind.
It's like, I can't show it up. It's literally sitting on me. Oh, God.
Yeah, Graham's comment as well. There is a lot going on behind the scenes at Oxford. So it's good that we can obviously not bring in that on the pitch, which is obviously really good because we've seen it time and time again where there can be a lot going on off the pitch and they bring it on the pitch as well. And it's like a downward spiral. But to see that Aaron Ramsey's getting these lads to perform, it's a really good sign from him. But Sam, last game in League One, Wigan Athletic 0, Leyton Orient 2.
Yeah, 2-0 Leyton Orient. So back-to-back defeats for Wigan. Leyton Orient taking all 3 points there. So it's just one of those afternoons, I think, a lot of missed chances for Wigan. They had a disallowed goal and Leyton Orient were kind of clinical when they took their opportunities. I mean, they could maybe have had 1 or 2 more themselves, but I think definitely from the home side, they'll look back on that and think, we've come away and not kind of scored would be really quite frustrating. Orient took the lead the second phase from a corner, which was looped in the box. The defence didn't deal with, and it was Tony Springett with a controlled volley that managed to sneak its way past the keeper. Dara Costello had a few chances for Wigan, didn't really have his shooting boots on, got in some dangerous areas, but didn't hit the target with either the big efforts that he had, and then they were punished. Just didn't react to it. There was a really quick throw. It was kind of a transitional play, and they were kind of just ambling back and chilling, and then sort of a runner from midfield. They didn't know what was going on. The defender then almost fell over the ball trying to do a flick and just gave away a really easy goal for Leyton Orient. They knocked it across. I think it was Yazzie Kabir knocked it across to Youssef Akamrich to double the trouble for the home side. But who is Youssef Akamrich, I hear you ask, Shah?
Who is it?
He's well known to our Chloe because he was on loan at Bristol Rovers last season, 20-year-old. And he scored 6 times in 19 appearances, and he's on loan from Tottenham Hotspur again this season, this time with Leyton Orient. And he was called up to the Moroccan under-23 squad in March. So one to keep an eye on. There you go. But yeah, he got the second goal for Leyton Orient. So overall, I think Richie Williams will be happy with the win. And Gary Cole's got some work to do, I think, with his Wigan side. That's for sure. They were, they'll be disappointed. Not a great start.
I fear a little bit for Wigan, if I'm being quite honest.
I do.
They're getting rid of a lot of players as well. I mean, I don't want to it's not really great about this selling them on to us, but I think there's been 3 of them come to us, but not just that. A lot of them have gone to other clubs, a lot of their players, and I don't know if it's the sign that they're having a bit of a clear out to bring more in or whether they just need to bring funds in. I'm not too sure, but it's just... I don't know what it is with Wigan, but I think they're in a bit of free fall, if I'm being quite honest.
They haven't got money. They've got no money, have they? That's the problem. But what could go wrong? They play us on the early kickoff next week. Sky Sport.
No, we're good. Oh, we don't plan a long goal. Joking. I've said that, Claire, so hopefully it's the opposite way around because you know me. Everything I say, the opposite happens. So I'm doing it for you. But yes, moving on. So the League One table, we'll leave it up again for a few seconds. But as we've mentioned, it's only 2 games in, isn't it? Not really anything to go by. That's what I keep telling myself.
Plymouth in the bottom 4, yeah, right. But funnily enough, I predicted Leicester to finish 18th.
If this is true, they are a massive rugby town, aren't they, Wigan?
Yeah. That ground is big for them as well. It's not as big as Milton Keynes is for them, but...
Treater. End the season
Stop the
now.
count. Stop the count.
Yeah.
Stop the count. But we are going to move on now to League Two. We are moving on to League Two. And if I have my notes right, Sam, you are starting us off with Bristol Rovers 5, Newport County 3. I mean, 8 goals in one game.
Oh, damn, indeed. What a boring game. One absolutely boring game with nothing to talk about at all. Absolute shocker. Really slow start in this one. Took a while to get going. 13 seconds before the first goal went in. So it was a really, really sort of slow start to proceedings. But yeah, Harrison Biggins for Newport County. I mean, they just sort of pounced on Bristol Rovers earlier, and that kind of just set the tone for a very, very bonkers kickoff indeed. I do have Chloe on the assist here because she has given me some match reports and some thoughts which I've weeded into my match report as well. So I've got some live stuff that she saw as she was watching the game. Rovers knocking on the door quite hard for an equaliser at that point, and it was coming when Ben Purrington struck just before half time. Said it was the greatest point to pick up the atmosphere back and felt that the men was bouncing just before half time. So that was 1-1. And then second half, so yeah, there was only 2 of the goals in the first half. So you had an absolute belter of the second half, and Rovers went a bit mad, really. Came alive. Fabrizio Cavin and Lee Jenkins' own goal looked like they were taking the game away from Newport, and then Newport pulled one back from Gwengwe. And Bobby Camwa then made it 4-2. It looked game over. And of course, Bobby Camwa, I talked about with Chloe in the season preview. She was excited to see what he could do, but I'm not sure that she was anticipating him running the entire length of the pitch to stick it to the Newport fans.
It reminded me of Adebayor.
I said full Adebayor was how I described it in my match report. Full Adebayor style to celebrate with some shithousery in front of the opposition fans. And
you can't. I love shithousing, mate. Like,
if you're gonna give it, you're gonna give it. That's quality. And I say Bobby Cameron was very good all game as well. Rovers, they did put unnecessary pressure on themselves, though. They did kind of some defensive lapses, let Newport in. It could have got away with them. Some slack moments, almost dragging them back into a dogfight. But in 90+9, there was a second goal for Fabrizio Cavin, which sealed things. But who is Fabrizio Cavin, I hear you ask, Sharp? Well, who is he? 15 goals last season for Bristol Rovers. He was their supporters club young player of the season and player of the year as well. Looks to be a key component in the Gases attack this year. And he's also won the Liechtenstein Football Cup twice. So he's got a trophy cabinet in his house as well. So, you know, he's a winner. He's a winner.
Wow.
Chloe's view of the game, she said there was a few standout performances for her. Keenan Goff, I think Graham mentioned a moment ago on loan Charlton, looked absolute quality. Shaq Ford put in a good shift, and Tommy Lee once again flourishing and picking out some incredible passes. Great start to the home campaign with a win. I mean, for Newport, you know, they're looking better in attack. That's for sure. Start of this season, there's stuff to take positives on, but 5 goals away from home is a bit of a worry. But it is against one of their pre-season promotion favourites. So, I mean, as lunchtime kickoffs go, they'll want a bad one. To be fair,
Newport have had 2 lunchtime kickoffs as well.
Both
of them have been early kickoffs for them.
What's going on? You know.
I know.
Versus the 3 o'clock, obviously.
Also, Sam, you know, when you keep saying, who is he? It reminds me of the male version of Nikki Graham, who in Big Brother. Who is she?
Oh, yeah.
Who is he?
Yeah, we need to get on the merch. Who is he?
Who is he?
Oh, I love it. I love it. But yeah, what a game. What a game. And the next game, Claire, Shrewsbury Town 1, Barnet 3. Another win for Barnet. They are looking strong already.
Yeah, and do you know how impressive that win was? Even more so because before that match, Shrewsbury were 11 games unbeaten against Barnet. So bogey teams are getting this season so far, aren't they? So there was a 13th minute opener from Jake Greaves for Barnet. And then Shrewsbury equalised on the 41st minute courtesy of Josh Davidson. So Charlie Larkin on the 83rd minute put Barnet 2-1 up before Tom Knowles sealed the win in the 90th minute. But 3-1 doesn't really tell the story of the match. Obviously, Shrewsbury were coming into the match on the back of a disappointing opening day defeat at Tranmere. A lot of fans are already sort of on the brink of sort of frustration and letting that ring out into boos. And I just think it's a bit too early, hold your horses a little while. And they did create quite a lot of chances. It's not like a 3-1 drubbing. Davidson's goal gave them momentum, but I can't look at myself. It's doing it again, innit? But they just lacked the desired quality in front of net. They did believe Will Boyle's header had gone over the line, and from looking at it, I can't really see clearly from the angles on the highlights. So we'll just say it didn't cross the line, but they were really sure it had. And then after that, there was a couple of good chances that went begging. And then they kind of lost the momentum a little bit, to be honest, at that point. Took the wind out the sail a bit. And obviously Barnet capitalised on it. Gavin Cowan was really frustrated about it, disappointed, thought that they should have done better, thought that they were wasteful in front of goal, and said he'd be working hard to rectify it. It was quite a pressing interview, to be quite honest. Dean Brennan again was just like, "It's brilliant, great win," right? And I can see him, Barnet be up there this season. They've hit the ground running again this season. Obviously 2 league games in, it's not all the be all and end all, but they've scored 6 goals already, only conceded 2. Whereas on the flip side, Shrewsbury have scored 1 goal and conceded 5. So it's not, it's not great, is it?
Don't worry, Claire, we've got them on Tuesday. You know what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get the first win, mate. No, I'm hoping Saturday. There's some early warning signs for Shrewsbury. I think, obviously, defensively, they look a little bit shaky. And nothing to panic about at this moment in time, I'd say. I think they'll be down there, which they were last season as well, but pulled away, obviously. But I think Barnet will be just raring to go. I think they'll do really well this season. Be one of my favourites for promotion, Barnet. Yeah, same. One of my favourites for promotion. Last year, I think in our predictions, I was like my surprise package because a lot of people weren't really sure what to expect with Barnet. They obviously had that fantastic season in non-league. Not a lot of people, hardly anyone thought they were going to get relegated, but they didn't think they'd do as well as what they did finish last season. And just looking at some of the signings, looking at that squad, I think they've got a really, really good squad, if I'm being quite honest. And they've got a lot of Football League players in there as well. And they've got a lot of real, experience, but they've got a lot of, younger quality players coming through too. And I just think they really do complement each other. And they've got a manager who is just so hungry to win. And yeah, I actually think they're going to being the automatics, Barnett, and in my predictions, I had them as the in the automatic promotion spot.
I agree. I did as well. I think they've been a solid package for the last 2 or 3 years. Obviously before that as well, but I think really the last 2 or 3 years they've really sort of progressed as a club. I think Dean Brennan needs to take a lot of credit for that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously he's a bit of a character and sometimes it can go both ways, but he seems to know how to get the best out of him, and I think he's doing a really good job. I definitely think there'll be an automatics this season. Wouldn't even write him off winning the league, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like I said, it's early on, but looking at it so far and the way they're just so hungry for that, and the way they're scoring goals as well. They're scoring a lot of goals too, but yeah. Very interesting season. But I am going to talk about Uncle Nick's team. So Swindon 2, Cheltenham 1, and a very important first League Two victory of the campaign for Swindon Town, and also their first home victory over Cheltenham since 2012. Fun fact for you. It was Aaron Drinan who opened the scoring after 17 minutes. And I don't know if any of you saw the goal. It was a very good goal. It curled home from outside the area. And it was really good because Swindon, it was a really vital tackle and they ended up winning possession. And from that was how the goal came. And just watching that finish as well, just the way it curled into, It was a really good goal. I feel like we've spoke about a lot of good goals tonight. So if anybody's not seen it, go and watch it. Definitely do. But yeah, I feel like it's really encouraging because Drinan was obviously their top goal scorer last season. And I feel like with Swindon, if they are going to challenge towards obviously the top of the table, which they're more than capable of, we saw last season, didn't we? They were more than capable of challenging up there. But then they just hit a little bit of a rocky patch and then they slowly started drifting down towards the bottom half of the top. So the bottom of the top half, sorry. And I think that's when obviously frustration started taking place. Obviously Ian Holloway was getting very outspoken, wasn't he? He was blaming every other person but himself. So I feel like they really can reach that full potential, but they just need to stick together. They just really do need to stick together. And Captain Ollie Clark doubled the advantage in the 55th minute. So Swindon were 2-0 up. And Cheltenham did make the closing stages interesting with Ryan Broom scoring a really good half volley too, with 5 minutes remaining. So it was a little bit nervy for Swindon, but they did manage the final few minutes and held on for the 3 points. But I just want to speak to you all about Swindon because, as I said, I feel like they do have so much potential. I know they've still got things going on off the pitch. There's been ownership issues for a while now, hasn't there, that haven't been resolved. But I wanted to talk to you about Ian Holloway because we know he's won promotions before. We know we've seen him in the Premier League with Blackpool before. And even the start of the season that we did have last season, they were very, very positive. Do we think Ian Holloway is his own worst enemy, though, at times? And I'm going to come to you first on this, Grimmy. What's your thoughts on him?
He's a character.
He's a very strong character.
I mean, he's great. He's great for the media, isn't he? Because he'll give them quotes galore. But yeah, I think I probably agree with that sentiment that he is a bit of his own worst enemy, and that, like, you know, obviously he knows his way around tactically, but I think sometimes his ego might get in the way a little bit. He's obviously had great success in the past with various teams, but you know, I think he kind of just needs to step out of his own way a little bit. And if he can somehow do that, I think maybe Swindon have as good a chance as any to have a really good season. But who knows with Ian Holloway? He's the big question mark, isn't he? Wherever he goes, is he going to blow up or is he actually going to make this work? That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Sam, what about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with me. Like, it's these box office to watch and you enjoy it, and then sometimes it can borderline on pantomime at sometimes when maybe sort of the chips down. There's no doubt he's a passionate guy and he's fun and just hilarious. And I can imagine sort of if you play from the certain aspects you can get behind, and he must. It must be entertaining on a daily basis, but there are some times with that stuff that it can distract a little bit, I suppose. It particularly, if it'd be interesting to see if Swindon can get themselves into a really kind of threatening position towards the back end of the season, and they're really going for something, and how he deals with that kind of aspect, and can he use that to galvanise, or will it actually cause issues where they kind of don't need it? But I think the squad's looking decent. There's nothing to say that they can't be sort of pushing. I think he's a very good striker, and I think that's very important in this division to push you up the league. Like, you've only got to look at, the example of a few seasons back when Walsall had that tremendous run before they fell away. There was it Nathan Lowe, didn't they? As soon as he went, gone. If you have that one guy that can kind of like get you there and get you on the cusp, I think they've got a chance. But he's got experience, though. I mean, Holloway does it. If he uses it, it's a bit like his magic powers. If he uses his magic powers for good and not evil, then they might be all right. But if it starts to descend into ridiculous, over the top chaos, it might go the other way.
You're mental.
You reminded me so much of like Wicked then with Elphaba and Glinda. He needs to be more Glinda.
Glinda Holloway.
Exactly. That might be his Sunday name. But Claire, are you in agreement with both Grimmy, myself and Sam in the aspect where, it can be his own worst enemy? It's like last year, wasn't it? It was all going well until he called someone for being too noisy while he was doing his interview, and it went all downhill from there then, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it's
the blame game.
It's never boring. It doesn't leave it boring for very long. I just wonder, obviously, Ian Holloway aside, I just wonder if the outside factors of that, as in like Clem Fenny, like the whole ownership issue, is that something that will stop him? And I genuinely think it could be. The ownership issues have been going on for so long. There's obviously Uncle Nick's like perfect example. Someone who supported that club for a tremendous number of years, who now is like, can't be bothered because of the ownership issues and everything that's going on. So how many people are in that same position? Like, they're still your club, get that, but the external factors, I think, sometimes what will stop you rather than how good your manager is, how good the player is, because those things can get in the way of it. Not always, don't get me wrong, but I think
I agree. No, I definitely agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I'm so sorry. My throat was drying up then. Grimmy, I know I've got you down as the next one, but with the game that you're doing, I feel like we need to save the best till last. So right. I am going to quickly move on and do Exeter 2, Accrington 0, and then we can all talk about the last game, like in real depth, and concentrate on it. But I'm not going to give it away, which game it is. So, Exeter 2, Accrington Stanley 0. So, this is, in my opinion, the result that Exeter really did need. And they couldn't have started much better, to be honest. Relegation from League One into League Two now. And like we've mentioned throughout this podcast, it can take time adjusting to the league, but I feel like with Exeter, they've done quite well so far. And this is just the home win as well that they needed. So it was actually Jack Fitzwater that scored inside the opening 2 minutes. Love a quick goal, to be honest. And he turned home Luca Woodhouse's delivery. Then just 11 minutes later, Exeter were 2 goals ahead with Seamus Connolly putting through into his own net. Not a good start. Not the own goal that obviously Accrington needed. But yes, and after only 13 minutes, Accrington already had a massive task on their hand. But from Exeter's perspective, once you're already 2-0 ahead, you can just manage the game then, can't you? You can just take it at your own pace, and that's what they did. From an Accrington's perspective, though, I'm going to be real honest right now. I feel awful because obviously we've got Rebecca on and she obviously supports Accrington and we've seen obviously their journey the last few seasons. But I personally think Accrington will struggle this season. I think the recruitment isn't as strong as it has been before. Obviously, they've got injuries as well as she did mention ACL injuries, which is obviously heartbreaking for players, especially so early into the season. And I just really, really fear for them, if I'm being quite honest. I don't know if anybody has the same opinion on Accrington, but I feel like every season now, it seems to be one thing after another, and they just don't seem to have any luck at Accrington, do they? And it's just constant injuries after injuries after injuries. We don't have the biggest squad as it is either, do they, Accrington? But I am really, really worried for them, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, 100% agree with everything that you've just said. 100%. They've got rid of. It's not even just like the best players, like the really experienced players who like have been there for a number of years, who know the league, know the club. I just think that, I don't know, I feel like the last few seasons they've kind of crept lower down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I just think they'll absolutely have their work cut out this year. I think it'd take a miracle for them to not drop. I don't like to say it's too early, really, but
just looking at the recruitment and things as well, and I just feel like they've just keep getting these bad luck with the injuries, and with Accrington as well, each and every season they have a very small squad. They've obviously got experience as well, but the experienced players that we do have are obviously getting older too, aren't they? And I do think, like we said, it's very early days, but I do think obviously they've not had the best start already, and they will have a work cut out compared to some of the quality in this league, which is such a shame. But we do have a comment as well. And Swindon, they have 9 first team injuries. Wow. That's
what's
crazy.
happened there then? How's there so many injuries so quickly, Sean?
I was talking about this. Yeah, Ian. It's crazy, isn't it? Honestly. Do you not feel like with footballers as well, though, because everything's so intense and because they're constantly playing football, they're not getting a break. There's just so many injuries, like all the time throughout the whole of the football pyramid.
There's so many, particularly now when you look at the fact, even I say, you know, at the League Two level, National League level, the sports science and everything else like that is the greatest it's ever been. You know, the understanding of what going through bodies and medical advice and all the rest of it, yet we're seeing more. So 100% it is. But you do see this at a number of clubs, don't you? That the injuries seem to happen in patches. You know, very rare, you know, you get maybe a freak injury and that's going to happen. But you do know, you know, clubs tend to have a lot of players all that together. And you do wonder with some of that, whether maybe they've not quite got the pre-season right. Maybe, you know, there's something in the preparation that's not right, or whether it is just kind of bad luck. Because some clubs seem to have it more than others as well. But I say with sports science at the height of what it is, it really should be the other way. But it's the intensity, I think, probably of what they're doing too.
Yeah. It's really sad as well because they're doing pre-season or during pre-season, they're getting injuries as well. And I just think they work so hard to get where they are. And then it's just crazy football. And this what sometimes does infuriate me. And I know not necessarily in the EFL, like further up the football pyramid, everyone's like, oh, they get paid far too much, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they are putting a body on the line week in, week out, aren't they, footballers? And that's one thing that people don't actually understand. And just some of the injuries that you can see and the injuries that players do get. And I do get it in one aspect with all that and the money side of it. But then at the same time, like I said, they constantly week in, week out, like
They wouldn't be on that much money if the sport didn't bring in that much money as well. It's
exactly
the biggest thing in this country, isn't it?
Exactly. But we do have one more game to cover. Oh, we've waited so long for this. This is a reason why Mr. Aaron Diskin isn't with us tonight. Colchester 2, Oldham Athletic 1. Grimmy. Talk to us because receipts. This was a receipt. I mean, we saw a lot of receipts during the World Cup, but there was none better than this receipt, surely. And this result is actually the group picture on our WhatsApp chat.
Yeah, it is actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. So just for context, people, during the lunchtime kickoff on the Premier League, when Manchester United were humbled by Hull City, there was a few swines in the WhatsApp making some rather interesting comments. Two of them being a Sunderland fan and one of them being an Oldham fan. And they both suffered for their transgressions in the WhatsApp chat with the results that happened. And so obviously coming into this one, me and Sam were feeling very Colchester, and we're on the Colchester side of the equation for this one. But didn't get off to the best of starts for us, really, because Oldham scored an absolute screamer in the 20th minute with Appiah Forson. But then just before half-time happened, we got a little bit of luck. There was a red card for Scott Morris. Now, I've watched it back, and I am trying to work out how it's a red. I think it's maybe a foul, but I don't know if it's a red necessarily. I don't know if it's just the angle that I'm seeing at doesn't give off the full extent of the foul. But hey-ho, it's a red card against Oldham, so I'm not going to complain. Not this weekend, anyway. And then Colchester found a way back in with Anderson scoring the equaliser and then kind of tried to find a way through from there. But to be honest, really struggled. They didn't really create many big chances. And then the most beautiful of own goals. The most beautiful of own goals was scored. I've never seen an own goal quite like it from one
to Titanic music as well, I think.
Yeah. We saw that. Slow it down with Titanic music, and it would just be absolute perfection. And then I can't lie. There was a bit of a celebration between me and Sam in our own little discussion that we had. And yeah, Colchester got the win, and it was a great weekend after that, to be honest. It revived my belief in humanity and in football, to be honest, that justice was served.
Do you know the thing about that chat as well? I actually didn't know it because I was at the football with terrible signal. And then I got home and ordered a Chinese, sat down eating my Chinese, reading this chat, and I could not stop laughing. I even messaged Sam, didn't I, Sam? It was funny.
He doesn't help himself, though, because what did he say about Manny Desiree last season, Claire?
Shy. Yeah.
But yeah. So, unlucky Aaron. Unlucky Oldham.
Really classy update, by the way, Grimmy. That was, 10-10.
It was.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I took this game and Sam didn't.
Yeah. I think my report would have probably been similar to Jamie Vardy. Chat shit get banged would have been my response.
Events now.
FAFO. Yeah.
What's an Oldham?
So we'll see when Aaron's next on, when what his response will be.
But another receipt is also potentially may happen because Anne, like we mentioned, was one of them as well. The whole Jack Clark thing, and who have they just drawn in the Carabao Cup?
Yeah.
Hull.
Yeah. I can keep my fingers crossed on that one, but we'll see.
We have some good fun, don't we? But that is the story of never open your mouth until your team has played.
as well as this, though, I feel like there's a way of doing it. You do it sort of at the end as a little bit of a Mickey taking comment. You don't do it during the match to your friends or supposed friends. I just think
Yeah.
it's not the best, is it?
No.
I mean, and
It
to be
was
fair, I
funny.
don't think I would ever be brave enough to make a comment about Stockport. So, you know, you're never going to get anything like that from me. So.
Fine. You're fine. I'll take
No.
all the, I can do shit. I'll take the shit as well. No problem.
No.
But there's a way of doing it, isn't there? I don't feel like you'd be like, ha ha ha, you're losing 3-0. Do you know what I mean?
No, we have banter as well, Claire, don't we? Because obviously, with Jim McNulty leaving and things like that, we were like, oh, Stockdale taking a mick. So technically, Grimmy, if you have a dig at Claire Stockport, you're having a dig at my Rochdale too.
Yeah, true. This is true. You mean
So we'll
Rotherham, right?
tag team you. Yeah, Rotherham. That was funny.
But like, to be fair, with Ant's side of it, he didn't really make any comments. His thing was, this is quite possibly the worst Premier League lineup I've seen, and that was before kickoff.
Yeah.
So I was
Ant
just like,
Ant just set us up. Ant just set us up before. As soon as he said that, was like, that's over.
So as soon as the first one went in, I just went, Ant, we need to have a word. So so if he comes into the chat on Sunday and says, this is the worst Ipswich Town team I've ever seen, I'm gonna be finding that man's address and going to have a conversation. So,
Grimmy and Sam are hoping he's like, this is the worst Manchester United team I've seen.
He might not be too wrong if they're the same as the first team that we put out.
Yeah,
It's
it's very true.
Oh no, honestly. Yeah, exactly. No, it's all good fun. But yeah, that is the reason why Aaron isn't here this evening, because Oldham lost.
Not that we've taken him out. Just to
I
clarify.
know. He's not been sacked just yet. But yes, new season, same old Aaron.
And then he don't come on when they get beat.
Exactly. But a fantastic win, obviously, for Colchester as well.
Yep.
My win of the weekend, to be honest.
Well, none of us actually won this weekend, so we had to celebrate something, didn't we?
Literally. This is why I'm
Entire
making the
pod, I
most of
think.
it.
Entire pod, bar
Oh
Driti
my
and Chloe,
God.
probably.
Yeah.
I know. It's getting embarrassing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, that is League Two, all finished for another weekend. And the league table. The league table.
The bottom,
yeah.
the bottom one will stay as it is, I think. But look, even if you look at it though, look at 22. Like, that's why you can't look at the table this early.
That's why I'm not looking at the table this early. I'm hoping. Hoping and praying.
So
I'm
much
saying
change
nothing.
in the field. That's why it's as it is.
Definitely. But of course, and I just wanted to let everyone know in the chat, do not worry if we've not covered your team this week. There's a long season to go, and we are doing a new format now where we do cover different teams each week. I know, obviously, West Ham have been mentioned a couple of times, but we couldn't not mention them when Charlton Athletic obviously got that 2-1 victory, even though, as we mentioned, our Sleeping Beauty was asleep at the time and missed it. So you will have to go back to the beginning, Graham. But a lot of football happening on the Absolute Football podcast, a lot of content from all the divisions as well throughout the football pyramid. You can catch up to. So on Monday, you can catch myself and the rest of the Absolute Football podcast non-league team in collaboration with NL Full-Time too, for all things absolutely non-league. We cover National League, National League North, National League South. The fantastic Sam and Grimmy, you can catch them on a Tuesday, all things Premier League. Hoping for a happier podcast on Tuesday, aren't we, guys? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. On Wednesday, you can usually catch Freya, Paul, and the rest of Team Chaos talking all things women's football. They cover WSL and WSL 2. And on a Thursday, it is another live show. We talk all things EFL football from the Championship, League One, and League Two. But don't worry, everyone. It's not just live shows. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and you turn on that bell notification because there's lots of content going out at the moment. We do have our new series in the spotlight. Episode 1 was with Rochdale's Casey Petit. We did Boreham Wood's Taryn I can't even say his name. Boreham Wood's Taryn Alarakia. And then yesterday we did have a special episode all about Yeovil Town's new signing, Slavi Spasov, who has played, obviously, at Southend. He's been at Slough. He's obviously Oxford's youngest ever goal scorer. So go and check that out. We do have another one going out. Is that on Saturday, Sam?
I think it's going to be Saturday because we've got, lots of content coming out this weekend. So, I think it's Saturday.
So Saturday, we do have another episode going out. But tomorrow, Grimmy, what's happening?
It's Friday. I've got a day off.
It's Friday.
Got to get down on Friday, as Rebecca once said. We've got a watch long at 8 o'clock. Crystal Palace at home to Manchester City. We'll see if City can make it back-to-back wins or if Palace are going to pick up some points early. And we'll have a good time. Sam might be there. I'm definitely there. We'll see who else turns up.
Yes, so lots of content. So as I said, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that bell notification because even we don't know when a content's going out. There's that much content.
This is true. I can officially drop that we are, I think it's possibly tomorrow, Freya and Paul have done a women's video because obviously the women's one is back next week. So there is possibly one with them if you're women's football. And just a little treat for Graham because I know that we're covering Crystal Palace in a watch along, but I can tell you on Sunday we have a special women in football in between season episode. And all I can say, Graham, is it's someone from Charlton. So keep your eyes out. Charlton.
This is where you shout then, Claire. But of course, that is the podcast. But if anybody wants to check out the amazing teams content, Sam, you go first. Where can everybody find you?
At Sam Absolute FBL on Twitter sphere and stuff, but mostly here doing football videos and chatting and chinwags and whatever we do these days. Plenty of content. And I do, to be fair, Claire sent me a wonderful little video short which will be going out tomorrow that I've not had a chance to sort out yet, but will be. So tomorrow, keep your eyes peeled. I'm very jealous.
Not wonderful. It's not wonderful when the team got beat 4-0, Sam.
I said the video was wonderful.
But Claire, where can everybody find yourself on the socials?
Sorry, 1 second, just checking. You can get me on Instagram only. I'm no longer have Twitter, and I might do in the future. It might be like Decorator CF or something. But there's something really random that's not going to give me away.
You just gave yourself away on YouTube.
No, it's not going to be that.
Oh, good.
You can get me on Claire AFP on Instagram, and also come and watch the day at Stockport. Come and watch the day at Stockport from Saturday and tomorrow's Stockport County versus Manchester United under-21 women's.
Do it, everyone. Do it.
Do it.
Do it now. And Grimmy, where can everybody find yourself on the socials?
Grimmy16 on the old Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it these days. And most of my efforts are on here, to be fair. So whatever podcasts or videos I'm doing or watch longs, we've got watch longs coming out of ears the next few weeks. So I'll be on them. So next one will be tomorrow night. So I'll see you there. What have you got on, Char?
Love it. Well, everybody can find me on here, but if you want to find me on the socials, I am SharXREFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. My own football channel at the moment is on hold because I'm putting all of my efforts into the Absolute Football podcast because it's just so amazing and I get to pod with the best people. You can pay
And
me
Darren.
later, guys. You can pay me later. And Aaron, I was going to say that, and I thought, I don't want people thinking I'm harsh, but you said it, Grimmy. You said it. But of course, thank you so much to everyone in the chat as well, to everyone who does watch this, whether it's on the live, whether it's on audio as well, which you can check out the following day, can't you, Sam, on all audio platforms?
Can indeed.
Yes. And yeah, just to each and every person that does support the Absolute Football podcast, we absolutely adore you and thank you so, so much. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend and hope everybody's teams win, apart from Colchester, Oldham,
Wickham.
Wickham, Ipswich.
Ipswich. Yeah.
Just anyone our teams are playing, but hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Ta-ta for now, everyone.